Hello to the chicos and the chicas. Let's learn some chess together. Today I'm going to talk about how to think in chess in general when you feel that you are ahead, what kind of mindset it is that allows you to comfortably play positions where you feel like, yeah, I'm ahead, I'm in control, I am in charge, and you can take that position from that point toward a reasonably cruisy victory. And for this, I'm going to show you a game that was a mid 1900 level blitz game on Chess.com. I know that blitz shouldn't necessarily be the subject of educational content, but every now and then you hit upon some remarkable examples, very good examples, and so that is the case here. The opening is going to be everyone's favorite, the London, and as you can see, Black is playing this already in a very, very lackluster manner, and adding insult to injury now with chucking out h6, committing to absolutely ridiculous opening play. I mean, frankly, 1900 level, this is really not acceptable in my book. I guess it was a consequence of taking on g3 and opening up the h-file, and Black was a bit nervy about that h7 pawn, but overall, yeah, Black play was a bit lacking. But we are here for White, and I would like you to focus on how White plays this middle game and how everything turns out, because then you are going to backpedal with me and we are going to rebuild this marvelous picture, and in fact we are going to turn it into a Picasso painting, no less. So quickly, let's zip through. Queen c2, b4, very early commitment there for a queenside space gain. Rook e8, castles, e5, and now we are having a very messy position as far as I'm concerned. But White somehow manages to stay on top, partly because Black blunders e5 here in a couple of moves, and then we are going to convert this endgame, although the technique again is pretty lacking. Like, this knight is gonna be soon on h2, believe it or not, but that's what it is. h3 rather, excuse me. Bit worse actually, but then we come around with that horse c, and ultimately we score a goal, we win the game. Now for many this would be like oh, okay, they blundered the fork, let's move on type of thing, but I think there is an incredibly powerful lesson here, and that's exactly what I'm going to unpack for you, with you. So I have nothing to critique about White's play except for bishop f4 until e4, beautiful central play, by the way, until here. So this is where I want to stop for a second and have a bit of a discussion, because when I looked at this game with student, I'm like, oh yeah, what is going on? First of all, I expected knight f6. That is an obvious move. Kick the bishop, then maybe castle, maybe queen c7, b6, bishop b7 in a Caro-Kann-esque fashion, or a Rubinstein French-esque fashion. Those are the things you anticipate, and it's very important, by the way, that you recognize those things that I just told you, that this looks like a Caro-Kann structure, this looks like a Rubinstein French structure, and so before you even commit to a certain move, you already have previous knowledge that you can put to use and make sure that you make very well thought out, educated decisions. Now, I really didn't mean this video to turn out to be a London bashing, but if you play the London and the London only, then you don't know what a Caro-Kann structure looks like, especially you don't know what to do in it, even less so in a Rubinstein French. So now, before we go on, allow me to do a bit of a comparison for you. So if we compare this to let's just go with the Rubinstein French. So we feel like we are in a very similar position to this, except that the bishops are not part of the deal, and I can make that actually happen because I'm such a legend. You see, we have got a very identical position to what I'm showing you. So the first big thing that I want to bring into this discussion today is that if you understand pawn structures and associated plans, that basically puts you forward ahead so much more compared to winging it, trying to figure it out yourself. Now for this, Obviously, a training regimen would need to have analyzing annotated games, engaging with good chess books. Flores Rios's pawn structures comes to mind right away. But you would come across this in so many books, in so many ways, shape, or form. It is, it's impossible to not to bump into this. And one of the key ideas in the structure in the Rubinstein French, and obviously c6 is not a move there, is to play queen e2 and castle queenside. Why? Because that's how you enhance your lead in development. You throw in even more imbalances into the position. You have more space. You have got more development. You have got better piece coordination. So castling queenside, initiating a wild fight in the middle and potentially on the wing if they castle kingside is in your interest. If they castle kingside, it is an infinitely harder scenario for white to squeeze black. Obviously, it is going to be a squeeze. It is going to be a lot more pleasant position. But boy, the ease with which we can win with queenside castles is crazy. So for example, here, of course, I immediately proposed to student that you really should have been down to 2 candidate moves, this and this, followed by castles. And that's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Because the only logical alternative would be castling, but that's exactly what we don't want to do. And once again, observe that compared to a Rubinstein French, we have this pawn up here, which is a huge blessing. Because double pawn's bad, said someone who never understood chess. Now we have got the open h file. So if they castle kingside, then g4, g5 is gonna rip into them like this. So check this out. Game continued c4, then b4, then castles. After queen e2, 8 out of 10 players on 19 level, 19 hundo, would castle here. I castle here. Now let's say they play c5 if they knew what to do. Only decent move to try to break out. Now g4 is not good quite yet because queen f4 check picks off the pawn. So we tuck the king away, cd and g4. And oh la la, now this is a relentless, brutal, violent kingside attack which is about to reach its culmination with g5. How many moves? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 moves, and I took the diagram position into a super fun, super aggressive, almost borderline winning attack right off the bat. Oh, shout out to the YouTuber guy who tells you not to attack, by the way, in chess. And instead, look at what that 4 move was that we played in the game instead. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. Not an awful lot happened here that would make us excited about life. Yes, we have gained space. Yes, we managed to shut c5 down. But e5 is coming. And after just one poor response, if black had played here, I'm not quite sure what the best course of action would have been. Maybe just queen e7 with knight f6 and then bishop out. I think they would have been totally fine. I think they would have been fine. This, by the way, attacks the pawn too. Oops. So c5, knight f6, bishop back, bishop out, rook d8, and no worries, black is fine. We are having a very, very tough fight. No one knows who is going to win. No one even knows who is clearly ahead. Nothing of that sort. You go queen e2, queenside castle, and the board is on fire. And obviously this overlaps with my big and constant mantra that people don't castle queenside enough in their games. And this is yet another example. And now I'm going to show you, by the way, how then this next level, as in this position that you see now, lends itself to the finish off already. So let's take a look at, for example, e5, a logical move to cemento from good old Leiko, the d4 pawn, and then we go g5. And that's pretty much all she wrote. After hg, I have got a super sexy check. King h8, check. King g8. And here comes the brutal finish of knight takes e5. Now, you can tell me that there is no way a 1900 would find these moves. And to some degree, I would agree with that. But that doesn't negate the point. because this is exactly the type of chess we want to work towards. And these are the types of moves that ultimately we want to train you, I do, to find. And so avoiding all this on account of, oh, I wouldn't have found that, is like you want to become a tennis player, and so we don't buy a tennis racket because that's too expensive. Or it doesn't work that way. Like, we have to commit, we need to do the slog in order to get to the goal in the end. So yeah, likely we wouldn't find it, but maybe we would. Because here we have a pattern, right? Which is the rook sack, and if the queen can get onto the h file, then it's mate. And you realize that the only thing that prevents you from doing that is your knight on f3. So naturally you look at aggressive moves. And now it turns out that actually after taking on g6, we have got check, rook f7, takes, rook h8, and it's mate in about very few moves. Maybe it's not forced mate yet because of knight f6, but you get my gist. It's all over Red Rover. We have 5 queens up, and it's, yeah, like, let's not go there. So these are the types of positions, these attacking positions, that people don't get to often enough, because in the mid to late opening, when they have got abundance of choice, they don't think in terms of what is my best way to exploit my current advantage, which is space advantage leading development. And they just go with, oh well, castles is principled, c4 is principled, I'm just gonna do those. Because that feels also safe, which is my most hated word in chess ever, by the way. Nothing that was ever done in the spirit of safety was really safe and or good in my book. But that's a different discussion, maybe for a different video. My point, you have an advantage. You have the upper hand. You need to further build it. Because it's not like it's going to last forever. Obviously, black is playing to equalize. And so unless we continuously retain, in fact, increased tension, pressure, we keep our opponent annoyed by our moves, it's gonna absolutely evaporate. So queen e2, castles, g4, g5, and keep on going with that attack. And if you compare this scenario and the way this game ended, and then you look at how the game actually went, you do see what exactly I'm talking about. That one is a fun, vicious, aggressive, attacking game where we are very clearly goal-orientedly, if that's a word even we go for a kill, whereas here it's like a constant fight for just even getting a tiny bit ahead, and we are only winning because in the end our opponent blunders a pawn on e5, and even the conversion was quite difficult until they blundered an exchange. So yeah, that was perhaps a bit long-winded, but I think that this game is a pearl for that 16, 17, 1800 range who regularly struggle to score those easy wins, to cash in on these clearly better positions that are not quite winning yet. These are the types of plans, setups that you want to pursue. Queenside castle, attack the king, go for mate. So much more fun and so much easier and so much more effective than castling your king here, and then let's hope that we can exploit our space advantage in 400 moves. That's gonna be it from me for now, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you liked this example. Please leave a comment down below, press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.